Hey everyone, as promised, I am going to show you how I draw this Gothic black letter style lettering and typeface. This one is called Prince Valiant, and I know that everybody draws letters in different ways, just like everybody paints portraits or draws faces in different ways. I'm going to just show you my method of how I created this lettering for these jean jackets. I'm gonna show you on paper, and hopefully I'll have a future video where I'll show you how what I used to put it on the jean jackets. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy this video, and let me know if you learned something. So here we go. Typically when you see this type of calligraphy, it's done with some sort of nib that has a flat edge. So this one is kind of like a fountain pen style. If you can see, this edge is flat. If I'm going from left to right, it creates a thick stroke. I am putting a little bit of pressure so the ink is coming out really, really nicely. Now, if I was to do the same angle, but go from right to left, it would be a thin stroke, even if I was to press a little bit harder. So that is because we're going along the line as opposed to going against the line. So here we go again, left to right, thick strokes, right to left, thin strokes. So typically when you see this type of lettering, it's done with some sort of nib that has a flat edge. So I'm going to teach you how to draw these letters, but for the sake of just seeing them, if you were to use a pen, this would be like the step-by-step guide of how you would draw each step. So I'm going to just show you how this works when you have a calligraphy pen. Okay, so the first step I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw this, the first stroke. Do a little tick. So the second stroke you see is going to be a thin stroke. So as you saw before, going down, it will be a little bit thin. Then you see you're adding a little bit of a decorative stroke at the bottom. And then you're going to cross your A. All right, so this is kind of how you would draw the step-by-step form of how you would do a letter A if you had a calligraphy pen like this. So let's do the B now. So the first step, and then, oh, I forgot this one. Okay, so that's, and then let's do the letter C. So I'm doing everything quite quickly, so just to show you how doing this style is a lot easier with this type of pen if you were doing on paper. But as you know, my specialty is lettering beyond paper. So how would you take this style lettering beyond paper if you didn't have a tool to draw on a mirror, to draw on a jean jacket with this type of pen? How would you build this letter step by step? So this is what I want to show you today, how I draw these letters. So the first thing I want you to know is I always look at letters like as basic letters. I don't see them like all decorated. I kind of just want to simplify them down. So the way that I simplify them down is I just look at the initial lines. So I'm going to use a red pen today to show you how I do this. So the first thing I would do if I was doing a letter A is I would draw the skeleton of this A. So I would kind of take a look at these strokes and I would build the skeleton of this letter. So for every stroke that you see, that's what I would draw a line. I'm using a red pen just to show you what I mean. So there should be a line where I'm just building out a simplified line of how this letter is going to look. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so if I was to draw this skeleton of this letter, it would be just a stroke like that, a stroke like that, and maybe like that. So that's how it always starts. It always starts, all my letters always start like this. So once I have like a structure and a skeleton, that's when I go in and I start building up the body of this letter. So let's go back to the first step. We're going to build out this letter first. So we are going to so you still see I have the skeleton in the middle, but I'm just kind of thickening that stroke up. This line was thin to begin with, so I'm not really going to touch it. This third stroke, it needs a little bit of thickening, so I'm going to draw 2 lines. Now, the edges are now you know how there's like a flat edge to the calligraphy tip. So if you remember, this tip here and this side here should always be parallel to each other, because when you're making that stroke, it should be the same height and width, and then they should kind of be parallel to each other for it to make it look like it's a stroke from a calligraphy pen, as well as this stroke here and this stroke here. They should also be parallel too, because it's like if you were like laying down a pen, you know, you would kind of like create that angle and you would finish off with that angle. So now I've built out that third step, and the last step is the little crossbar in the middle, crossbar. Okay, and that's how you start building out your letters. Okay, so let's do the letter B. Note there is, create the skeleton of this letter first. Look at all the lines that you need. Draw it out simply. So let's start with that. Let's see. So a B, start with that, and then it's going to kind of circle around. Another little rounded curve, and then there's this back line that touches that. Then we're going to add a little tab there, and then finally there is the line that goes down the center. So let's start with the first line. We're going to thicken that up. And the second line. Note that this curve usually thins out at the end. If you're using a calligraphy pen, that's what would happen, because you're making that turn where the pen would be more of on an angle, create a thinner line. Then you're going to thicken this. Then you're going to create this, thicken this line. And there you go. So let me color this in, because I think it's easier to see if you color it in. You see? So my method is always create a simple structure for the letter and then build its body from there. So this is like the way that you should build your characters and your letters, in a step-by-step form with simple clean lines, and then add the body to it. So I'm going to do the letter C. There it is as a simple clean lined version. Now I'm going to build the body. Remember, these edges always should be parallel. For every stroke that you have, the beginning and the end should be parallel angles, okay? So here, this and this should be parallel. This and this should be parallel. This stroke here and this, the way it ends, should be parallel. These little tabs, not so much because they're kind of like just a little stroke. For Gothic font, that is really the case. But for whatever letter you're drawing, there's always some sort of repetitiveness and structure when you're building your letters. That is very important. It's the same height, you know, for all the letters. That's important. And also the same weight in the strokes. That is important too. So that is how I build my letters. So let's go into a word now. So I'm going to letter the word cutie. Okay, so I'm gonna need a C-U-T-I-E, right? So we already learned how to draw the letter C. So right now I'm using a dot grid journal so I can see everything really clearly, but just in case it's a little bit faded, I'm going to create these lines so that you can see where my lettering is gonna go, okay? So if you remember, I'm gonna start off with this stroke here. Then I'm gonna create this line. Then I'm gonna draw the third little dash there, this little tab, and then finally the line that goes down the center of the line. Now I'm gonna just make the simple lines, all of the simple lines first before I start building the character, so you can see exactly how I do each word. So for the letter U, we didn't do this one, but it's gonna be the same method, okay? So just keep in mind, if you haven't printed out these worksheets, there's a link below where you can sign up for my newsletter, and then you can download the sheets right away. So if you want to try drawing these letters, I suggest you sign up, and then you get the worksheets right away. They're super, super helpful. So if you notice this one, the first stroke is like a hook, goes up. And the second one, it goes down and up. And then that forward, there's the decorative part. It kind of comes around, and that's kind of like the third mark. And I'm also going to add this mark here. And then they have a little tab there, and they also have a straight line. There you are. So that is just the simplified skeleton of the U. Now I'm going to do the T, which is on the second sheet of the download right there. So I'm going to do the simplified lines. Now I'm going to head to the eye, which is right there. You know what? I feel like I made this eye a little bit too close to my T. So I'm going to kind of move it over a little bit because I want to still give it a bit more space. I'm like too crowded to the T. I feel like I need to move over just a tad. So if you notice yourself, you have a mistake, you should just fix it right away. Don't just keep on going along with it because it's going to bug you. But it definitely bugs me. So I always try to fix my stuff the moment that I see that there's a little bit of an error, so it doesn't take me down a rabbit hole of being crooked. Okay, and there's the line. There you go. And the last but not least is this letter E. So I'm going to draw the simplified version. There you go. Okay, so right now this is the simple version of the Gothic letters, and now I am going to build up the body to all these characters. So keeping in mind about the parallel beginning and the end. Okay, so I'm going to build these strokes up. If you hear that scratching, that is my dog trying to come in. I guess Pepper's really interested in learning how to draw Gothic black letters. Okay. I'm still keeping the center, the line, the simple line in the center. And I'm building up these letters like around the center. So I'm considering like the simple line in the middle, almost like a skeleton. And I'm putting the body around him, around it. So these lines, this line, this line, this line, you see all these should be the same angle. If you have all these at the same angle, then you have like repetition throughout your word, and it helps make the word look a little bit more uniform and like they belong with each other. Every time I draw a stroke, I always emphasize the beginning and the end, and I make sure that those lines are parallel, if you haven't noticed. And here we go. Okay, so there's the word cutie. So right now I am going to color it in to give it more. You can see the word come to life. I think I made this eye a little bit too thick. And there we go. And that is the word cutie. So now you know how to draw these letters step by step. So now if you can literally draw this style of letter on anything. What you need to know is like you have to have a line at the top where all your letters meet, a line at the bottom where all your letters will sit on, but you know the step by step of how to draw them first with good spacing, and then how to build the letters up to look like a black letter Gothic style font. So once you know how to draw these letters, you can draw them on anything. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to create a video for you that can show you how I painted this style lettering on a jean jacket. That will come in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So that is how you draw Gothic font instead of writing it with a calligraphy pen and nib. I hope you found the process helpful and insightful, and I hope that it encourages you to practice another style of fancy lettering besides just script. Yeah, like if you like to see more about how I draw letters, just comment below. Give me a typeface that you want to see me draw, and hopefully I can make more of these how I draw letters videos for you. In the meantime, like the video and subscribe to the channel, sign up for the newsletter if you want to download these free Gothic worksheets. There will be many more worksheets to come, many more videos to come in the future. Okay, have a great day. Bye.